Hi. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Running over time, so let me just start. My name is Omar Mohout. I will talk about growth hacking today in the next hour. Before we're going to do that, let's talk about what's a startup. First definition from Eric Ries. Who knows Eric Ries? Some hands, not a lot, but still, okay. It's a must-read if you want to be a startup. His definition is a startup is institution designed for a new product or a service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. Why? Because you don't know. You don't know if there's a market for, you have to test it out. It's a new product in a new market. If you are a bakery, you're creating breads, you know there is a market for it. If the bread is okay, you're going to sell. But if you're a startup, you try something totally new. So you don't know the outcome of it beforehand. That's one definition of Eric Ries. Second one comes from Steve Blank. Who knows Steve Blank? Same people? Okay. He was the teacher of Eric Ries. Being an entrepreneur, he's also a professor at Stanford. And for him, he talks about a startup being an organization searching for repeatable and scalable, very important word, business model. That's a second definition of a startup. Let's give you one more, all right? This time from somebody you don't know, myself, right? So definition for me is a startup is making a product or a service. It has an unlimited uplift. You can grow without any limit. The market is the limit. It can really scale very, very fast on a global level. The moment you're online, you're everywhere. There are 1.5 billion people connected with broadband now. And lastly, it can grow without depending only on people. A small team can serve a very, very big market. That's new. It never happened before in the history of humanity. Now, how come? I think there are three important conditions, requirements, to be really that scalable as a startup. The first one is it has to be based on intangible assets. Think about music or movies, but also software or a brand or a patent. All these things are intangible assets. The second condition is use technology to lever that asset. Let me explain. 1,000 years ago, you had people here around singing, making music. Back then, music was not scalable. You go somewhere, in a village, on a market, in a castle, you play music, and you get paid for your performance. That's it. About 100 years ago, somebody, Thomas Edison, managed to record music. He made gramophone. So you can record music. Technology made music more scalable, which means if you record once the music, you can sell it to a lot of people all over the world. That's what happened with music. One last condition. You use internet for free distribution. MP3, in combination with internet, was killing the music industry. So to have an asset like music or anything else, make technology to lever it and get you free distribution. If I tomorrow create a factory to make this bottle of water, okay, challenging but possible. Yet, I still have to figure out distribution. The logistics, the transportation, to bring it to the shops, to put it on the shelf, to sell it, to warehouse, the whole thing. If I have to export this water to Australia, it's a hard job. Paperwork, customs, the whole thing. In your case, if you apply that, it costs you nothing. It's a free ride, okay? So you should use that. It's a big, big opportunity. The impact of these three perfect storm elements means that today, a small team can do miracles. I mean, the speaker before me was talking about WhatsApp. Any idea how big WhatsApp is as a team? What do you think? Nobody. 10? A bit more, about 50 people, serving 400 million users. Let's take another one, Instagram. How big is Instagram? About 10, 13 people, serving what, like 500,000 pictures every day? Let's take an example in Belgium. If you take Belgacom, big player, telecom player, they have 15,000 employees. If every person in Belgium is calling each other, it's like 6 million calls, right? Now, if you take Skype, also doing calls, Skype is 1,400 people working there, employees, in Luxembourg, the US, and in Singapore. It's 10 times smaller. Yet, tonight, during peak time, they're handling 70 million calls the same moment. You see scalability? It's huge. Why is that? Because the real constraint for anyone is human beings. At the end of the day, even if I work really, really hard, 20 hours a day, 7 days on 7, it's a limit. If you can decoupling that, then you can become hyper-scalable. Also interesting is there is no linear correlation between creativity and number of hours worked. I can work 10 years and write a book, and have only one customer, my mother, right? Some of you will do it in a weekend, and you have 10 million copies. All right? There is no correlation, not in a linear way. That's very, very important. It's also a huge opportunity. That's why pricing software is very hard. I mean, you guys are creative artists. You're the digital artists of this century, right? Software is a piece of art. How do you price that? Very, very hard because of this reason. And lastly, despite being small, startups have a very big impact in economic value. The value of a designer even is so high. It's more than the number of hours he worked on. This is important because in this world today, we don't appreciate that. There will be no startup in Belgium that will become Gazelle of the Year. Why? Because by definition, it's a small team. While Gazelle of the Year, trends, they will count the number of employees. The more employees you have, the more chance you have to be like the company of the year. But a startup is not about having a lot of people. It's about having a small team, leveraging a big user base, even globally. No startup in this country will become export lion, right? Yet, let's take Engager in Ghent, here in Belgium. Engager's revenue is 95, 98% export revenue. Why? Because at the end of the day, to be an export lion, the customs have to know that you're exporting things. But Engager is digital revenue. Showpad is digital revenue. How do you count that? Customs don't see this revenue passing by, right? This is why they will never win the export lion. Yet, every startup in this country, everywhere in the world, is an export lion and is a gazelle. That's the reason. What about market opportunity for startups? Well, you know Mark Andreessen. The guy said very clearly, 2012, Wall Street Journal, software eats the world. Everything becomes software, which means you guys are in the driving seat. That's a huge thing. There is no software industry anymore. Everything becomes software. It's like last century companies, we call them pen and paper companies. It doesn't make sense. This century, every company will use software, right? That's why it's not an industry anymore. It's a huge opportunity. We know how software is eating manufacturing, 3D printing, and robots. Okay, that's clear. But also sales. The landing page is the new sales guy. If you make a landing page, they convert visitors into email addresses or contracts. That's what the sales guy is doing, contacts to contracts, right? The difference is a landing page costs me $300. Right? It can speak 10 languages. It works 24 hours and 7. It can handle 1 million customers at the same time. No salesman can do that. Okay? Software is eating everything out there. It also means you're really in the driving seat. Now, those are just warming up, right? Let's talk about growth hacking. First of all, let me give you a definition. Growth hacking is about acquiring or retaining of customers. Now, you might argue, that's true, but every business is about acquisition of customers and keeping customers, right? Nothing new. But there's a difference. Sorry. Difference is that you're looking for levers, important word, to repeat and scalable growth. Like being a startup is looking for repeatable, scalable growth. It also means that you can start from the product guided by data. This is new. We have so much data today. You know what's happening in your SaaS application, in your app? Before, we had no ID. If you sell this bottle of water, you have no clue who's buying it, why he's buying it, what he or she is doing with it. You don't know. You cannot measure that, right? You guys can measure everything. And here's the big thing. Today, the product is a channel. If you change the product, you change your channel. The moment you're online, you have an app or a SaaS product, you are really changing your channel as well. It's unique. It's the first time in history that I know where the product and the channel are the same thing. That's a huge opportunity if you know how to do that. One way to do that is using growth hacking. Now, growth hacker I discovered about 1 year ago. I tried to make the profile. There are 3 main things you have to know. First, to be a growth hacker, you have to understand marketing, right? To apply marketing. The second thing is you have to know how to make software, how to make APIs. In my books, if you know this, if you know how to code, you can learn marketing. If you're a software engineer, you can learn marketing. It's much harder if you know marketing to learn this. Okay? Then again, I'm biased. I'm a software engineer myself. Having said that, you still need a third thing, data. Really data. Everything today is data-driven, getting insights. If you combine these 3 skills, marketing, know how to code, and data, you're in pole position for growth hacking. Now, growth hacking started in the US, like a lot of other things, Silicon Valley. I discovered about a year ago, summer 2013. That's when I started to launch it in Belgium. Growth Hacking Belgium is a meetup group. Not just one, it's the biggest meetup group in Belgium. And I'm very proud of that. Of all the cities, about 75 now, 78, it's like a year ago. Belgium is number 3. After Silicon Valley and Paris, is the 3rd biggest meetup group around growth hacking in the world. So it's quite a nice achievement for this country. Now, typically, people will say, okay, fair enough, but Omar, is it not the same thing as marketing? What's new about it, right? Well, there's a difference. If you're good in marketing, really good, head of marketing, director, VP marketing, CMO, you get a budget, €1 million, and you go and you buy customers. If you can do that, it's an art, you're doing very, very well. But if you're a growth hacker, you don't have a budget. I mean, what do? You have to find customers without the $1 million budget. That's, I think, more challenging. Don't you agree? Now, how does it work? Here's an important mental picture that you have to remember. If you have to remember one thing of today, that's what you have to remember as a principle. You see, think about marketing, right, as a lever. So if your product, you have the market that you want to move, and you put money there, your marketing budget. The more money you have, the more the market you can move, right? Which is not a surprise. If you don't have this budget over there, what do? There are a number of solutions. Number 1 is called the law of Archimedes. You make this longer. How long? As long as you need to be, right? I think Archimedes said once that if it's long enough, we can move even the planet, right? So you make it longer. How do you do that? You use an API. Usually I have to explain what an API is, but I'm sure I don't have to do it in this audience. Let me show you some examples how it works. Think about these guys, Spotify. Spotify streaming music. Back then, there were like hundreds of startups doing streaming music. Why is Spotify? Why you know Spotify? How come? Because these guys, they were really, really good in integration with social media like Facebook. Every time I listen to a song on Spotify, they post on my wall, my friends will see it, they want also to listen to it, they click on it, and they become really a user of Spotify. Let's take Instagram. Nobody will ever hear of Instagram. It will be some very small, obscure kind of app used maybe in New York somewhere. But thanks to the integration with Twitter and Facebook, sharing it, it became like who they are today. In other words, if you don't have access to a market, borrow somebody else's market. Access Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, and borrow their market. It's also dangerous. One example, which is not there, is Zynga. They're making games. Zynga became really big thanks to Facebook. But then they start overusing it, spamming people, right? And Facebook killed Zynga. They're still in problems today. But that's how to do it. That's one way to do it. A second way to do that is to make your product viral, to make it grow itself. Like I said before, your product is a channel. That's new. It never happened before. So I'll give you an example or two. Take Dropbox. How many people are working for Dropbox in sales? Up to 1 year ago, zippo, nothing. Why? Because sales for Dropbox, that's you guys. You are the sales force of Dropbox, all right? You're bringing new users and you're getting like incentive for that. Take Skype. I lived in Dubai 4 years as an executive. 2004, in Dubai, to call was very, very expensive. Even today, it's still expensive. The number 2 income of the Emirates next to oil was Teleco, right? But fine, we had to call home to Belgium and my wife as well. So I flew from Dubai to Brussels. It's a long flight, right? To go to my parents and to my parents-in-law to install a laptop, to explain to them how to use a computer, to show them how to use Skype. I did all these things because after that point, I could have a free call. My wife could call her parents. I did the sales for Skype. I did the post-sales support, the installation, the training, everything for Skype. Can you imagine? Everything I did for them? That's how you grow viral. Now, virality is something hard to grasp for us. So let me put it in numbers. Imagine that you have a business doing 1,000 euros a month. That's a small business, right? 1,000 is like peanuts every month. And you have the mindset like a growth hacker. Every Monday morning, you get out of bed, you focus on one thing. This week, up to Sunday evening, I will grow what? 1%. Okay? So every week, I will grow 1%. That's the mindset. Okay? So after 4 years, if you do that, starting from 1,000 euros revenue every month, you will have something like this, about 8,000. Not bad, but it's not really a business, right? A consultant will make this kind of money. So let's be a bit more ambitious. We will double our effort. We want to grow every week with 2%, right? You double your effort. I know it's easy in the beginning, it's hard at the end. It's about the mindset, the principle. If you apply that to 4 years, you have a business of about, what, 500,000 a year? Not bad, it's a lifestyle business, right? But it's a business. Now imagine we go for 5%. We're focusing every single week to grow 5%, starting from 1,000. After 4 years, you see the impact, you do 25 million. Now we're talking. You're a real business, right? You want to have more? More ambitious people? Cool. Let's go for 7%. 7% over 4 years gives you a monthly revenue of 1.3 billion. Imagine. Every month, right? Put it in perspective. Microsoft is doing like what? In euros, 50 billion a year? Okay, so you're coming close. To be really close, we have to go one step up. You want to see the next one? 10%. One more thing about 7%. If you want to get into Y Combinator, the most famous startup acceleration program in the world, by Paul Graham, who is a software engineer, by the way, like Mark Andreessen, that's the number you need to have, 7% every week, to be considered to enter the program, not to be selected, right? 7%. If you do 10%, let's blow it away, you get like what, 407 billion every month. To put in perspective, I think the total BNP in Belgium, our national debt is about 400 billion. I mean, you blow the whole thing away. Forget Mark Cooker, you know, it's like pennies at the end of the day. That's real business. I know you will not make 407 billion, I understand, but it's the mindset which really counts. Now, moving on, one more thing you can do is, the world changed, guys and girls. You see, today you can really have great services for pennies. If you go to Elance or Odesk, you go to Fiverr, you cannot imagine what you can buy for $5. Any idea what you can buy for $5? It's a lot, right? I mean, it's like a Starbucks coffee, right? 3.7 euros, more or less. I go there every time. Let me see if this works. We take a risk. Okay. Forget about everything being open, okay? It's just like about, I know I can close them, but hey, let me see. Or I go to the other one. You see, I'm a hard-working guy. Watch this. So it's Fiverr. So it's Christmas season. You can have your greetings for $5. You can improve your business, small gifts. I don't care about that. You can mobilize your business, an iPhone, Android, whatever. You can have nice cartoons, your apps, you can illustration. Everything you see on the screen costs you 3.7 euros, $5. Okay? I use it every week. And sometimes it's like crap, but who cares? It costs me like a coffee. But they're really nice stuff there. I mean, if I make a video, I hire some of these guys for a video. The voiceover cost me like $5 for 2 minutes. So for $10, I have like a professional voiceover. I don't have voice right now here, but it's amazing what you can buy today. Okay, there's a lot of talent out there which costs you nothing. That's Fiverr, but you can also go to Elance or Odesk and use other services. I'm really good in it. When I make a presentation, the layout, the video, the voice, the copywriting, I fully outsource. Okay, to make a full video, to make the presentation on SlideShare visually nice, to make an article on LinkedIn, to have the voice recorded and put it on SoundCloud to get the SEO impact. It cost me like what, $130, 100 euros? The whole thing, 100 euros. It used to be very, very expensive. To design a logo cost me like 1,500 euros and get like 3 choices. I go to 99 designs, I get like 100 designs, right? For a fraction of the cost, 250 euros. The world changed. You can use that, you can leverage that. Sorry. However, before you start growth hacking, I need to warn you. The best way to kill your product, if it's bad, is to have great advertising, great growth hacking. If you're not ready with your product, don't do that, okay? Make sure that you have a product which is sticky enough, good enough, before you really go for it. If you do that before, you will kill it. So it means that growth hacking needs to come at a certain point in time. Startup cycle looks typically like this one. Everything starts with an ID, okay? But you see, IDs have no value. Every morning I take a shower, I have like a couple of IDs. So what? If I don't execute them, they have no value. I have to share them or execute them. Once I execute them, I create a product, I create value. Always. Even if there's like only one user, myself, I created value, right? But more important than value creation is how to capture value. The next stage. Which you do with your business model and your pricing. Now, that's the magic point. Product market fit. The key question is, if you have a product, an app, a web service, how do you know that you reach product market fit? Here's a rule. A rule of thumb, okay? Everything I'm saying are rules, not the law, all right? Don't go and say, Omar told me to do this. I give you an indication. If you make a product, let's say in B2C, and you have 100 users, or in B2B, 10 users, you give them the product. Whether they're paying or not is not important. They're using the product for X weeks or even months. If it's complex, months. If it's simple, days and weeks. And after this time, you're asking them one question. This service you're using, this product, is it like a must-have or a nice-to-have? If it's like a must-have, it means if you plug it out, it starts screaming, you have product market fit. 20 to 40 percent, it means like 20 to 40 people if you're in B2C, or 2 to 4 in B2B, saying it's a must-have product, you find product market fit. If it's less, it's not, guys. go back, improve it. So that's a rule of thumb. 20–40% should see your product, your service as a must-have. And only then you're ready for scaling, which means also growth hacking. So growth hacking starts here. If you do it here, you will kill your product. If you just launch your MVP and you go for growth hacking and get like a lot of users, I don't think you're going to be ready. Make sure you have product market fit, and then go for it all the way. Now, you use different hacks for a different purpose. Every hack can be unique to your company, to your business. But one way to look into it is to look at your funnel. This is an example of a funnel. It's called the Pirate Matrix. Do you know what the Pirate Matrix are? Some hands? No hands? Okay, still, all right, that's cool. So it's the most used funnel. I think it's quite straightforward. It tells you where you are. I mean, acquisition, you activate, onboarding, you have retention, revenue, and referrals, right? Nicely explained here. What you can do is, for every stage, try to think about which growth hack you want to apply, because something in acquisition is not the same as activation or in retention. So think about the funnel. In the beginning, you will worry about acquisition, of course. At the end, you will worry about revenue, monetizing the product and the service, and to go viral. But first, you start with this one, and then you're going down all the way. I'll give you some examples. In acquisition, Hotmail is one of the oldest hacks out there, I think from the beginning of the 90s. Hotmail became Hotmail not because they had a big marketing budget, because they add one small sentence to every email sent. Only one. Every email that you send out, they added, PS, I love you, get your free Hotmail account here, and you click on it. When they start doing that, in 6 months' time, they went to 1 million users. 1 year later, 12 months later, they had 10 million users. Today, because we talk about hundreds of millions, right? Back then, to give you an idea, there were only 72 million people on the internet. They got 10 million users out of that. One of the guys sent an email to a friend of him in India. Within 6 weeks, they had 300,000 users in India. Just adding PS, I love you, get your free Hotmail account there. It's a very powerful, simple, nice acquisition hack. Skype, I already explained. We're doing everything for them. Dropbox, the same thing. Excellent about virality in the acquisition stage. And Spotify, the same thing. Let's talk about one more. Everybody knows Airbnb, I guess. Airbnb used a combination of 3 hacks. You see, if you're Airbnb, it's a very difficult business model. Why? It's what they call a two-sided marketplace. At the same time, you need to have offers, supply, as well as demand, buyers. So if you go to Airbnb and there is no houses, apartments, holiday places to rent, you will never go back. But also, if you're renting out your holiday, you put it on Airbnb, there's no users there, no people to rent it, you will never go back. So if you want to create a startup, a two-sided marketplace startup, it's like creating 2 startups at the same time. It's really hard. Okay? It's not like a chicken and the egg. You need to have the chicken and the egg at the same time. It's really, really hard. Okay? How do you do that? Airbnb is a combination of hacks. The number 1 hack was a simple one. They found out if you have an advertisement which has nice pictures, you will rent out 7 times more than advertisement without pictures. What a surprise. I mean, if I go on holidays, one decision point for me to rent something somewhere is pictures, right? I mean, it has to look nice and everything. So the guys, they're from New York, looked in the newspapers, looked in the websites, and everybody who has no pictures or bad pictures, they went there, knocking on the door, say, hey, can we take free pictures of your home or your holiday place or your apartment? And you will be able to rent out much more. It's like an easy deal, of course. I mean, come in, and it works. You get much more renting out. Even today, after all these years, in Belgium, if you put something for rent on Airbnb, up to 5 places, I think, you can order somebody in your region, here in Antwerp or in Brussels or wherever in Belgium, to come, a professional person to bring and make pictures for free. Okay? That's one thing that they did. Second thing they did is a real hack. The biggest place to buy stuff in the US is called Craigslist, all right? It's the biggest. Every little town in the US is on it. Everybody's selling something. It's like huge. It's so huge that if you go and open it, you go to the website, Craigslist, it looks like from the 90s. It's so ugly, really like ugly. But you don't care because you have to come to them. They have everything, right? I like that, to be so strong that you don't care about the interface. So that's what they did. So there is no API for Craigslist. Why should they? I mean, they want to be the big one. So the guys here made a so-called API, meaning they are acting as if a user will go log in and create an advertisement. So if you go to Airbnb, as in somebody wants to rent out his home or want to rent out an apartment, you push a button, and Airbnb will publish it automatically on Craigslist, which means the traffic came from Craigslist to Airbnb, right? Think about this. It took about 1 year before somebody at Craigslist realized, like, hey, something is wrong here, and plucked them out. But then it was too late. Okay, I mean, they really became so big, and they solved the two-sided marketplace problem. It's an amazing hack. The third hack is a PR hack. You see, every city Airbnb is going, inclusive in Brussels or Antwerp, they're not welcome because the government tries to stop them. There's something called the hotel lobby, and they're competition for the hotels. So New York, the same thing happened. They tried to stop them. Okay. Then one day, something passed by called Katrina, like a big tornado. Airbnb, being opportunistic, said, you know what? If you rent out your home for free, okay, to people who have no home shelter these days, we don't charge you anything, all right? I mean, think about it. It's a hack which costs them nothing. Nothing at all. Because it's not their home. You offer your home to help people, and I'm like the superstar. I'm like the nice guy helping people out. That hack brought them in CNN, together with the major, which was back then Bloomberg, right? Saying, live, these guys are really rocking. So the enemy became a big supporter. That's the hacks that Airbnb used. Activation, that's a nice one. I mean, if you make landing pages, well, not you guys, you're experts, but if you don't know anything about landing pages, you go to like Unbounce, for instance, and you go and you create your own landing pages without knowing how to use software or program your web page. So Unbounce is the story. One of my partners in crime, Vladimir, he was creating landing pages, so you want to have a paying account. You get a 30 days free trial, and then you have to pay. So he was logging in, creating an account, and want to put his credit card details in. While he was doing that, I was calling him. So he picked up the phone, we talked for 20 minutes, he went back to the screen, which canceled the process because of security, and he saw that an email came in from Unbounce. Okay? And the email was like, oops, did we do something wrong? Here's a link to get your account without a credit card. Think about it. If you're an idiot and you're giving your credit card details, fine, we're going to charge you after 30 days. If you don't give your credit card, which is 95% of the people, you get this email saying, hey, don't worry, you still have your account. I think it's very, very smart. They leave nothing on the table. Whether you give it or not, they will try to get you on board. So that's an Unbounce hack. Twitter. Twitter found out that if you log in for the first time, they target to get you 12 people to follow. The magic number is 12. Once you hit 12, you're getting back, right? If you don't hit 12, you do it once and you leave it and you never go back, which is like for them a waste of time. So we want you to really use the product as much as possible, like Facebook every month, every day, I mean, every hour, every minute. So they will do everything possible to get you to the 112. So if you log in the first time, they look to your location and say, oh, you know, yesterday we had the Red Devils, follow Vincent Company, or follow this guy, or this star, or this whatever, everything possible to make you follow 12 people. They will invite you to import your email contacts, right? They will push everything to get you 112. Once you get to 12, you're going to be okay. Before that, they will, well, put you under pressure to follow 12 people. Retention. Gamification is a big thing. If you look to LinkedIn, LinkedIn wants you to get back every day. So if you install the app, you're getting all these notifications of people, news, whatever. They will tell you your profile is like 80% full. They will try to push you and import your emails. They will go and say you have to complete that. Everything possible to make it sticky. Now, here's another one, Foursquare. It used to be like quite a hot thing. These days, they're having some issues. But the same thing is about the whole gamification thing. You want to be the king of a place, which is ridiculous. I mean, I know one of my colleagues, he's having this mountain bike thing, right? And every time he takes a certain hill in the fastest time possible, he's king of the hill, okay? Believe me, when somebody else is beating his record, okay, he will go back. He will keep going on the hill, up and down, until he gets back king of the hill. Gamification works, it's amazing. Zappos. You know Zappos? They're selling shoes online. Think about it. Now it maybe looks normal with Zalando, which is a copycat. Back then, it was not normal. To buy shoes online, whether you're a man or a woman, is a big step because you make sure that they're really fitting. You want to show that the colors are matching whatever you want to wear. So the way to sell shoes online is to give crazy customer service. Crazy as in crazy, right? So the guys, they will make a promise to you. We will deliver happiness. You're not sure about the size, you take one size up, one size down, take all of them, you pay one, you don't like them, and you send them back, no problem. You're not sure about the color, take 3 colors. Okay, try them out. The ones you don't use, you send them back, free of charge. Okay? It's a condition to sell shoes online, to give this kind of service. So, Zappos is delivering happiness. If you type in delivery happiness, you will come to Zappos. They even wrote a book about it and everything. But basically, these guys are selling shoes. Think about it, they're selling just shoes. And give you the feeling that you buy happiness. It's amazing. If you know that you have a birthday and you order shoes, they send you flowers. Because they know you will write about it in social media, whatever. Zappos is being sold to Amazon for 1.8 billion. It's like selling shoes online. I mean, to me, it's like amazing. Now, one thing I like about Zappos, how the guy started. So he was not sure how it would work. So, it's a big risk to sell shoes online. So he went to a shoe shop and said to the owner, do you mind if I take some pictures of the shoes and I sell them online and I get a small commission? Like 5%, 3%. The owner of the shop said, of course, go ahead. So he starts making all the pictures, put them on a website, very simple. And if you click on it, he gets an email with the size and the color. He goes to the shop, he buys the shoes, he goes to the post office, put them in a box, sent them to the customer. 2 weeks later, they came back, of course, because it was the wrong size, whatever. He did everything manually. Only when he had traction, product market fit, is the day that he automated the whole thing. The ERP, CRM, whatever. Before that, he did it all manually. Okay? It's very, very smart. Because by then, he knew what works, what doesn't work. So he knew what he needed to make it happen. That's why he could scale very, very fast. Revenue. The number one. And to me, it's like, you know Booking.com? I hate it. Not because it's a Dutch company. No, that's not the reason. Booking.com is giving me stress. Every time I go on Booking.com, I'm under pressure. Every time I look to a hotel room that I want to book, they will tell me, hey, somebody 10 minutes ago booked the same room. 7 people look into the same room right now. Really, always 7, okay? There are only 2 rooms left. Always 2 rooms left, okay? We guarantee you the price. Just push the button. And I get all this pressure, you know, rooms, whatever. I say yes, I feel relaxed. It's horrible. It's really, really horrible. But it works. They're really putting a lot of pressure on you. So if you want to learn something about psychology, go to Booking.com and enjoy the ride. Last but not least, let's talk about referrals. I give the first example is Groupon. I think it's a very bad business model. I mean, you know, you go to a shop, you force them to give you the lowest price, and you take half of it. I don't think it's sustainable, okay? But anyway, one of the great hacks he did is the following. Any offer on Groupon if you can convince 3 of your friends, well, friends, 3 people you know, to buy the same thing, you get it for free. Anything, whether it's a TV screen or it's holidays to Thailand, you convince 3 of your so-called friends, they buy this great deal, you get it for free. It sounds like a great deal. If you think about it, if you have 50% margin on the product, even if you give 1/3, 1 out of 4 free, you still make money. I love the idea. You get like a great deal, right? It's really like value for money. You get it for free, and the guys still make money. Okay? Well, the downside is that someone is losing money, which is the poor guy selling you the product. Okay? That's why they hate you to see you when you come with your Groupon or your Bongo Book stuff, whatever. You get like a very bad service. But the bottom line is that they made it viral, yet making money on you, and everybody feels they get a great deal. Okay? I think that's quite amazing. PayPal. PayPal is one of these companies that is also in a two-sided marketplace. Back then, they were targeting eBay. So they go to merchants on eBay. If you go to the merchant and say, you know what, you're paying 5% to credit card companies, right? Why don't you add PayPal? Because it only costs you like 2%. And it's easier because you're just giving your email address, right? Not like a whole credit card and the numbers and everything. I think it's a great deal, right? But if I'm the merchant on eBay and you make me this offer I can't refuse, my question would be, okay, how many people are using PayPal? Oh, nobody. Sorry. Even if it's a great deal, I'm not interested. If you go to the other side of the two-sided marketplace, to the consumer buying on eBay, and you say, hey, here's a great thing. You can really pay now with your email address. Okay? Very convenient. Fine, great. And how many merchants are accepting PayPal? Oh, nobody. Oops. You see, it's an issue, right? So, 2 things they did. First hack was, we're going to offer very popular products. Back then, not the iPhone, was not existing back then. Let's say the iPhone today, the new iPhone. We offer it at the same price we're buying it. We take no margin. Okay? One small detail is you have to pay with PayPal. So you're forcing users to get PayPal, right? And because you're selling it at the same price that you're buying it, you can be very, very competitive. The second thing they did is to make it viral. If you are a PayPal user and you bring another PayPal user, a new one, right? They're giving you $10. And the new person, the new user, also get $10 for free. They have to spend it, of course, on eBay. There was a whole generation of young people, teenagers, who were inviting everybody to get money on their account. Okay? Every time, $10. It's a lot of money for them. And now imagine you're on eBay, you're a merchant, you're selling stuff, and then somebody knocks on the door and says, hey, I want to buy this, whatever it is, but you need to have PayPal. The first time, fine, can happen. But after 5 people coming to you, want to buy the same thing, of course you're going to go and contact PayPal and say, hey, I need to have a merchant account with you guys, right? In there. So that's one thing they did. The tricky part about this, it's a very expensive hack. PayPal grew in 1 year to 100 million users. 100 million. If they continued like that for 3 months, they'll be bankrupt because they're still inviting people. It's crazy. If PayPal was not sold to eBay, they would be bankrupt. Okay? You know what happened? They sold it to eBay. They became the PayPal mafia and making something fancy like electric cars, right? Stuff like that. So it was quite cool. So it's a dangerous game, but it worked very well if you want to have big numbers. Last but not least, let's have a local example. Mobile Vikings. Who's a Mobile Vikings here? Okay, cool. How many people working in Mobile Vikings in sales, you think? Not a lot, right? If anyone. How many do you have in customer service? Not a lot. One of the customers of Mobile Vikings, he made a website, landing page. If you're looking to buy credits or you want to have Mobile Vikings card or anything, you came to him, as landing page, and then you get converted, and he got credit. It was cheaper to do that than to buy credits from Mobile Vikings. His name is Tom Klaus. Very soon after that, he had credit for life. He could call the rest of his life using mobile Vikings, right? He did it so good that he offered him a job. He now works for mobile Vikings. He's the evangelist, I think, something like that. So mobile Vikings is using their community, which is a strong community, to do sales and customer service. They have maybe 2-3 people in customer service. But if they're not reacting very fast, somebody else from the community will answer using social media. It's very smart. It has limits, okay? And mobile Vikings, I think, made a calculation. They can grow to take 2.5% of the market in using this model. Not everybody wants to be a Viking, right? Which is still 300,000 users. It's a lot. So Belgium, they made it. They replicated to the Netherlands and to Poland. So I think the model can be sustainable. And it can take every market in the world for about 2.45%, which is still a big number. So these guys know how to scale using community. That's a great hack. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes.
Whenever a growth hack works,
Yeah.
will it work again? Or it is already burned out?
Yeah, good question. In my opinion, if you build a growth engine, okay, it has a limited time span, okay? It will not go on forever. So that's why if you want to take off, you try to put in 3 to 5 playbooks, engines, right? Some of them will work, great, but over time they will go down. It happened to me, I was using SlideShare, great SEO, and I was SlideShare of the day like nothing 1 year ago. Today, I have to do a lot of work to make it SlideShare of the day. So inflation happens. So you're right, a hack is something quite unique to your business, but has a limited lifetime. This is why I recommend make 3 to 5 playbooks to get your growth taking off. Some of them you will kill after a while, some will work great, and you can scale. Did I answer to your question? Great. Yes, sir.
Can you tell some horror stories?
Horror stories. Yeah.
How this went wrong?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you an example of Zynga. Zynga became big because of Facebook. Actually, to be fair to Zynga, you know, farm field kind of games, Facebook, Zynga made each other grow. Back then, it was great to have this game. It made really Facebook grow. But then, at some point, it was over the top, and Facebook killed Zynga, although they grow thanks to Zynga as well. I'll give another example, a Belgium example. There's a company called Famous. Famous is an app where you can tag all the nice brands you have as a girl or boy that you're wearing. They made a calculation. They found out that there are 30,000 groups on Facebook related to fashion. And if they drop a message in this group, they get, in average, 1.5 users from the group that's signing up, right? So it's a simple calculation. 30,000 groups, 1.5. If you do that, you get 45,000 users, right? That was their idea. So they hired somebody in India. They made a couple of accounts who was spamming every group. Hi there, hi girls, hi boys, if you want to go do all these things, okay? By group 5,000 or something, of course, Facebook found out, right? And they banned their domain name. It's a problem because famous.com was their main thing. So they go and they create the famous.co. And so it's an example where things went really wrong. Even today, they're still banned from Facebook, while their users are mainly on Facebook. So there you go. Growth hacking went wrong. Is that answer to your question? Great. Other questions? Great. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.